All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today we're tackling a universal human quirk that, let's be honest, pretty much all of us are guilty of at some point. I'm talking about asking for things without actually putting in the work. We're drawing our insights from a genuinely fascinating homily by Father Joel Jomar Sisgatus. And his message? Well, it completely challenges how we typically view success, answered prayers, and the real grind it takes to get there.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever found yourself in a tight spot and just silently begged for luck? We've all been there. People pray for a lucky break right before a brutal board exam, or when they're launching a startup, or even just heading to the airport. But here's the thing. Passively crossing your fingers and waiting for luck to strike is actually a fundamentally flawed mindset.
And that perfectly sets up our first major concept, luck versus blessing. Let's look at how this redefines our whole approach to good fortune.
So the crucial distinction comes down to this. Luck is pure chance. It's a total accident, a random roll of the dice. But a blessing? A blessing is defined as a deliberate gift that's part of an intentional plan. God or the universe doesn't operate like some giant random raffle where your name just happens to get pulled out of a hat. True blessings, those instances of profound success, are highly intentional. There's absolutely no accident about them.
Which leads to a massive paradigm shift. Faith means being prepared. It's time to redefine what faith actually looks like in the real world.
This single idea right here is the absolute anchor of today's explainer. God blesses what you prepare for. Preparation isn't just checking boxes on a to-do list. It's literally the physical manifestation of your faith. Think about it. When you actively prepare for something you can't even see yet, you're proving that you truly believe it's going to happen.
The real-world logic behind this is brilliant. Imagine a venture capitalist with $10 million ready to invest. You pitch them, but you don't have a business plan, no permits, zero financial records. Are they going to hand over a check? No way. And it's not because they're mean, it's because you aren't ready to handle the money. It's the exact same for a talent manager needing a last-minute fill-in for a sick pop star. If you haven't been doing your vocal warm-ups, you can't seize that unbelievable opportunity. Blessings simply won't flow into your life if your hands aren't ready to catch them.
And yeah, this is a really tough pill to swallow. The problem usually isn't a shortage of blessings or opportunities floating around out there. The real problem? It's our own lack of preparation. We constantly pray for a high-paying dream job without ever bothering to learn a new skill. Or we pray for a deeply loving, connected family, but we refuse to put in the work to learn how to communicate or forgive. We basically want the penthouse view without building the foundation.
To really prove this point, the source brings up a powerful biblical case study, the miracle at Zarephath. It shows that action always comes before the miracle.
Let's trace how this goes down. There's a severe drought, right? Starvation everywhere. The prophet Elijah walks up to a widow who is down to her literal last handful of flour and drop of oil. She's getting ready to bake what she fully expects is the final meal for her and her son. And Elijah asks her to bake a small loaf for him first. Now, she could have totally panicked or been selfish, but instead she actively prepares the food. And what happens next? A miracle. Her flour and oil do not run out for an entire year. The massive takeaway here is that the widow didn't sit around waiting for the miracle before she acted. Her active, faithful preparation is what actually created the space for the miracle to happen in the first place.
You see, true faith prepares long before the result is visible. It means you've got to plant seeds in the dirt when there is absolutely zero sign of a harvest. You have to lock yourself in a room and study intensely, years before anyone hands you a diploma. It means giving to others even when your own pockets feel pretty light. Preparation is the action that proves you actually believe.
Now let's explore how all this ties into the famous instruction to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world.
We hear that phrase, salt of the earth, all the time. But really think about how salt is made. It doesn't just magically appear in a shaker on your table. Historically, getting that vital, life-preserving flavor meant taking heavy ocean water and intensely boiling it over a raging fire. It's a harsh, brutal process of transformation. To become salt, you literally have to be willing to endure the boiling.
And the exact same logic applies to being the light of the world. A candle doesn't give off light just by sitting there looking pretty. To provide light, something has to actively burn. The wick gets consumed, the oil gets depleted. It's a powerful metaphor showing us that preparation and providing real value to the world usually involves enduring a certain amount of pain and sacrifice.
Which brings us to the realization that hardship is preparation. This totally flips the script on how we look at our current struggles.
This led to such a profound realization. Your pain is not a punishment. It is opening you up to receive a miracle. Listen, if your prayers haven't been answered yet, it is not because you're being ignored or punished. Actually, it might be because your current hardship is actively expanding your capacity. It's deepening your resilience and fixing your heart, making sure you're truly ready to handle the blessing when it finally shows up.
Think about the dual nature of fire. A flame will melt a fragile wax candle, but that exact same fire is what hardens steel. So instead of staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. asking, why is this happening to me? Why are things so incredibly hard right now? The mindset shift is to ask, what is this preparing me for?
The source uses these really beautiful, poetic analogies to drive this home. The widow's extreme, painful hunger, that was the exact setup required for an overflow of food. The painfully dry, cracked earth is the only thing that allows the ground to absorb a heavy, life-giving rain. The darkest, coldest hour of the night is literally the required precursor to the dawn. A state of lack is never a dead end. It's just the prerequisite for abundance.
Okay, so how will you prepare today? Let's bring this right back to you and see how we can apply this massive mindset shift right now.
Look, even if you are stuck, sick in bed, or your bank account is at zero, preparation doesn't always have to be some grand, sweeping physical gesture. It starts on the inside. It's your attitude. Are you moping, complaining, letting bitterness take over? Because let me tell you, a toxic attitude will actively block your healing and your success. True preparation can simply be doing the internal work, cultivating readiness, maintaining gratitude, and building the emotional strength to handle future success.
Father Gatus shares a really interesting personal insight here, pointing out a ratio of 3 to 1. He notes that it takes at least 3 hours of hidden, quiet, solitary preparation to deliver just 1 hour of a successful presentation or homily. It's the classic iceberg effect. It's just like how it takes years of grueling exams and late-night studying for what? A 5-minute walk across a graduation stage? The public glory is always tiny compared to the private preparation.
So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to wrap up today's explainer. Take a hard look at your goals. Look at the things you've been desperately asking for. Are you just sitting there waiting for a miracle to magically drop into your lap? It's time to stop passively waiting for luck to strike. Take control, flip your mindset, and start actively building the capacity to receive your blessing. Thanks so much for tuning in.